I want to make my position clear because it seems like it seems almost delusional and crazy what you see people, how you see people, especially people close to you, family members, people you've known your whole life. I mean, strangers you meet. And you see certain things that they do and you ask yourself, are these people aware, conscious, alive, present? And the reason I say that is because a lot of my journey started with when I made the decision to go on social media and start expressing my views and being opinionated and outlandish and bombastic and to say how I feel and to express myself. A huge part of that push for me was growing up over the years. I always encountered myself being sort of on the background in the sense that I never really wanted to express how I feel about anything or whatever, because everybody busy, they working, they have life to deal with, things to do, families to raise, and I never got into it, But around, I would say my journey started around 2016, around the time Trump started his journey. And I was, always lackadaisical or skeptical about being involved in politics. I never really cared to be involved in politics. But what engaged me at the core and was the catalyst to kind of suck me into being more vocal and being out there expressing my opinions and debating and having arguments and all these things was that it was around that time I started to notice the decline in intelligence, intellect, and sort of this controlling philosophy that was brewing under the surface that started to show itself in my face everywhere I was, whether I was at work, whether I was watching the news, whether I was talking with people around me. I started noticing an NPC culture brewing around me, and it concerned me. It propelled me to take action because I said, why? This is not right. When I grew up in the Maharishi Mahesh Yogi movement in transcendental meditation, and one of the big things we say in that movement, one of the big things that my father raised us is that in the future, human consciousness is going to be so awoken, so awake that, and Maharishi predicted this, that a revolution would take place with humanity. Now we are thankfully living through that revolution right now, in case you don't realize it, but we are, right? You are in that. This is the point in history. We are fulfilling that prophecy that was made by our leader, Maharishi Mahesh Yogi, in the cult or religion or spiritual movement, whatever you want to call it. I don't care. I'm not picky, because an awakened person doesn't care what label it gets, because he knows the purpose and the usage he gets out of things around him in this world we live in, right? So here we are now facing a crisis in consciousness, right? And we're all fighting to become awake. That's what's going on right now, people. Wake up. We are going through a time where we are all fighting to become awake. And that's a beautiful thing. That's a wonderful thing. That's an amazing thing. I love it. That's what I'm passionate about. That's why I get so excited to be on social media, to be out in the public domain, arguing, debating, conversating with people, because that's us. That's the human species waking up. That's what we're here for, right? To debate, to play with concepts, ideas, it's fun. So a lot of people misunderstand me. Now, going back to my journey with Trump, the reason I started around that era and the reason I chose Trump as the icon for my fight or for my protest is simply because here's this guy who I don't really have any relation to or anything like that, who came on the scene, expressed his opinion out loud, which is a very American thing to do, which are the ideals of this country. And he was elected, and he ran, and all through the time he was in office, he was demonized and lambasted at every turn. Even I was involved in that lambasting. Even I was involved in that view of the man. But I stopped and I asked myself a question. Wait a minute. What if I'm missing something here? What if I'm not looking at it from another perspective? So I began my journey doing some research about who is Trump, what is he about, not what the media was telling me, but by me going out of my way to look up historical footage of this man, hear him speak, read a few of his audiobooks. I had to do audiobooks because I drive all the time for my job. And I started going, wait a minute, this guy might be a legitimate guy to run this country. He seems qualified based on his past experience. Then I started looking at little actions the guy did. He started going to Korea and talking peace. That was the most lefty, liberal thing that man could do. Because for a long time, American politics has always been, our foreign policy has always been to just go to war and change the regime in another country, destroy that country, and then put our contractors in that country to make money and siphon money out of that country. And that's what we did for a long time. And here's this guy going to all these countries peacefully, even to our enemies, and trying to make deals. And I thought, that's admirable, that's good, that's what I want for my country, that's what I want America to be known for as my nation. As one that goes out and reaches a hand out even to our enemies and say, let's do business, let's make a deal, right? Because for so long, all we ever do is just drop bombs on people's heads. And I was so ashamed of that. Just like you're all ashamed of slavery and you're all ashamed of all the nasty history of the American continent, you should also be ashamed of what we do now. So I don't get this tribalistic view people have. This is what I'm talking about, NPC culture. NPC culture because you're not thinking. You're not trying to observe. You're not trying to form your own opinion or your own idea. You switch on the television and some anchor comes on there and tells you who you should be, how you should think, and what you should do. You understand what I'm saying? Think about what I'm saying. Everything I ever knew about Trump from the beginning was what was told to me. And everything I know about Trump now is what I went out of my way to look for and find. Now I'll give you a next example. Every day I was walking by the TV in passing. Now I don't really watch TV, but I always have one in the background in my home, at work somewhere. It's always in the background. So it always tuning. I sort of peripherally walk by and see the news. I saw something about a guy named Jordan Peterson on CNN, I think it was, or NBC. I think it was NBC. And the clip said, the soundbite was, Jordan Peterson, racist, white, nationalist, pseudo-intellectual, blah, blah, blah. And it was like a hit piece. Now, I recognize a hit piece from a mile. My family, I come from a family of journalists. I come from a family that was mainstream media in Trinidad and Tobago, right? Used to be because, once upon a time. So it's in my DNA, it's in my blood. Fascinated by media. I want to be in media. Trying to form my own production studio right now. Got a lot of media productions I'm trying to develop and work on with other people right now. I love media. Media is a wonderful tool. It's a way to reach the masses. It's a way to help nurture and cultivate culture. That's why I'm in media. But there are other people out there who are in media for the wrong reasons. Because they're pushing an agenda. And that's okay. In a free market society, that is allowed to exist. Now we could get into a whole other debate about free will and being an individual and all. That's another conversation for another podcast or time. But at the end of the day, you gotta ask yourself, when am I truly thinking about something for me, for myself? Going back to Jordan Peterson, staying on topic. I'm just telling you the process I went through to get to the Mahesh you see here today, right? The process I went through. Process I went through was, so I saw this soundbite and immediately my interest peaked because I'm like, why is this man being vilified? Because I seen a pattern. I saw a pattern every week. I walk and I saw the news. Somebody was being vilified. And so I made it a habit and I told myself and I disciplined myself to do this. That's interesting. I would like to know more about that person because he's been vilified. So I want to know who he is. What's his backstory? How he get to the point where he's on the news being vilified right now. So I go and I do research on Jordan Peterson. I look up some YouTube videos. I'm very fascinated by this man. A very, very intellectual, very intelligent man. He's a psychologist. He works in Canada, and he was one of the first, Paul Revere's, one of the first people to come to the table and say, listen, guys, we're headed down a very dangerous road if you allow this LGBTQ community to legalize and mandate speech, because at that point, you're giving power to the government. And then they will be able to tell you that if you do not say X, Y, and Z or toe the line, you're fired, you can't eat, you can't put food on the table for your family. This is a dangerous, slippery slope. So he made awareness about that. So it piqued my interest further. I bought his book and I listened to the guy's book and I thought, this is a very, very good man to write a book like this, to help any human being on planet Earth be a better human being. He's contributing to society. Why is this man being vilified? I'll tell you why from my discovery, my own research, and me going out of my way to look for him. You are vilifying people like this because you don't want human beings to think for themselves. You don't want human beings to have a say at the table. So you tell me, who is the evil one? Who is the demonic one? Who is the one that's really causing damage to our species, to humanity, to the freedom, to this country? Who? Ask yourself, who? And what could be the motive? The only motive I have for seeing every single person that has been vilified on social media, by mainstream. And mainstream means they're owned by the very same people who want you to believe what they tell you to believe, to live how they tell you to live, and to pay the taxes that you have to pay. Those are the people who are infiltrating your mind. And I can say this with pride and with confidence because I went through the process. I did the hard work. I took all the shadow bans and the being kicked off of Facebook and banned and community guideline standards, censorship, ridicule, being made fun of by your own family, by your own friends, by people who you thought were there for you, and comes out they have a little difference in ideology and they get rid of you. That's NPC culture. That's what we're dealing with today. This is why I'm so passionate and always online and always expressing myself and speaking up. I don't care if I'm wrong or if we disagree. That's the point. That's the whole point of this free society that we chose to have, the United States. It's the whole point of why it exists. Is so that you and I could disagree but still live our lives. And come to a resolution through mediation, through projects, working together, figuring out, understanding, conversing, disagreeing, making it better. That's what this society was supposed to be in my heart, in my mind. So I'm going to leave you with this. I got to wrap up 13 minutes in. You don't want to hear more of me talk, but I'm just trying to give you guys a glimpse into me, who Mahesh is, why I do what I do, why I say, why I am always all over the place like a crazy guy. And you guys think I'm crazy and insane and make comments behind my back because I know about them. I'm not stupid, but I laugh and I let it off. Water off a duck's back because I know the bigger, deeper truth that I'm after. And that I know deep down you are after too. It's a very spiritual thing what's going through. What we are. This is why they say it's spiritual warfare. World War III started as soon as World War II ended. And many of you don't know that because you don't read history. You don't investigate. I do. I listen to so much literature. I have to say listen because I can't read on the road. I drive for my work. So I download hundreds of audiobooks. And I listen to the perspective, Art of War, Marcus Aurelius, Genghis Khan. I read about the great generals of our history, people who have made a huge impact on this planet, right? I read about psychology. I listen to science. I listen about the process of thinking, debating. I'm a self-educated man. I'm proud of that. I don't have a degree, but I'm proud that I took the route I took to get here. And you should be proud of the route you took to get to where you are. This is what makes each and every one of us unique and so beautiful, like a work of art. We human beings are a work of art, and we should be proud of that and celebrate that and enjoy that and enjoy our differences. Because as once again, as where I grew up, there is unity and diversity. I'm so thankful I've had the life I had, the parents I've had, the opportunities I've had, and to all those out there who have helped me get to where I'm at now. I love you. Thank you. I appreciate every one of you, and I will never forget any one of you, as I know, same for all of you out there. God bless. Thanks, guys. Blessings. Stay positive, stay alert, stay vigilant, and let us make it normal to ask questions, to engage in debate and conversation, and we could still love one another. And we don't have to agree, but we could work on finding solutions, right? And the next time somebody tells you, don't listen to that person, or that person is evil, so don't listen to them. You know what? You should probably go listen to them, because you might get something or learn something. God bless. Take care.
And the road is wet, people. Take your fucking time. Take your fucking time.